All right, meatheads, we are back with another Meathead Cookbook, and we are making a meathead stir fry today. And by stir fry, I mean a couple vegetables in the pan and then cooking up a shitload of ground beef. Georgia just scored a touchdown. But we're starting with these Brussels sprouts. These are the Brussels sprouts. What did I make last? Oh, the salmon. These are the Brussels sprouts from the salmon that we had left. I will never really use these again. So I kind of just, like, one of the best things if you are cooking that I have found is use ChatGPT for ingredients. Be like, hey, I have these ingredients. What can I do with them so I don't have to waste them? And that's so ChatGPT inspired this and is telling me what to do with my Brussels sprouts because otherwise my Brussels sprouts are going to go bad. So we are throwing Brussels sprouts and a cut up onion in here for our stir fry. Vegetables here. We are going to cook these. Once these are cooked, we are going to throw some corn in there and then some spinach in there after the corn is cooked for 1 to 2 minutes. And then we are going to take the vegetables out and put the meat in. We are going to cook the meat up. There's a little bit of a glaze with the meat that I'm excited to make. I again looked up ChatGPT and I had some of this balsamic vinaigrette and I had some honey and I had some garlic. So we're making it out of balsamic vinaigrette, honey, and garlic. Rip in there. We were going to use some mushrooms in this recipe as well, but unfortunately I took my mushrooms out and they were very moldy. And I did not know that. I should have taken a picture. They weren't very moldy. They had a little white fuzz on them, so a little bit moldy. And so we had to cut the mushrooms out of this recipe. But then I told it I had the corn from the chili that you will either see the week before or the week after this. I'm meal prepping today, so I'm making 2 meals, shooting 2 videos in one day, throwing this stuff away. But that chili, I'm super, super excited for. It's only like an hour in to being made. But we got a pound of ground sirloin and a ground about 93.7 ground beef there. So we're cooking that baby up. Lots of protein in this one, and just with a little bit of extra flavor with some vegetables today. So we're gonna cook this baby up. I love the smell of onions cooking up. Like frying some onions like this, there's really no better smell. And with the Brussels sprouts, it actually smells pretty good. Again, I went from eating Brussels sprouts 0 times in my life until Harley told me to add some Brussels sprouts to my salmon, and she made Brussels sprouts for me the week before. So this is like my 3rd time making Brussels sprouts in 30 years of living. And so they're not my absolute favorite vegetable, but they are good. I was just saying, it's kind of weird. I have never made them before, and now we are on a Brussels sprout spree. But it's mostly just because I didn't want to waste vegetables. That's why I was trying to throw those mushrooms in here too that we were using for our egg bake, the new and improved egg bake. I'll show you guys this. I'll probably have to end up making a redo video on this, or like a part 2 video of this, because we have made it so much significantly better. But we added mushrooms there from the girlfriend. She recommended those. We added red and green cut up peppers, absolute gas. And then we have some turkey sausage in there as well to even add more protein. And this is my favorite variation of the Meathead egg bake, the very first episode of the Meathead Cookbook, what started all of this. And I think we are on version 3 or 4 of the egg bake, and it's progressively getting better and better. But I make that every single week and eat that every single morning, and it's been so convenient to just be able to have eggs made in the morning. I can't tell you how long and how much time I've wasted in my life cooking eggs every single morning and cleaning up dishes every single morning. Now I just have to do it all in one big cook-off. So still waiting for these Brussels sprouts to cook a little bit here. I have ADHD with this spatula. I'll probably just let them sit for a little bit. I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt to it here as well. We'll salt everything and season everything at the end, but I know I like some salt on my onions. They're almost done here. I think we are close enough to add the corn here. I believe we have to add 1 cup of corn, 1 cup of corn to the pan here. Excited for this edition. Again, we just had this from the chili. And I was like, all right, ChatGPT, can we add this to the original recipe I was thinking of? And it was like, yeah, dude, replace your mushrooms with some corn. And I said, all right, we're going to do it. So throwing the corn in there, and then we're going to let that cook for just a little bit, let that warm up. And then we're going to throw our spinach in there. We have to do how many cups of spinach? 1 cup of spinach as well. So let this corn warm up a little bit. Making all the veggies here today. Again, if you want a much more basic version of this recipe, just I think it's like at Meathead Cookbook episode 2, I show what I do with ground beef. Typically, I just wanted to spice it up a little bit this week and make something a little bit more fun with this stir fry version. But if you are just straight on a Balkan meathead diet approach, you do not have to do all of these steps. It makes it taste way better, makes it a little bit more enjoyable to consume and even make content of. But if you are just straight up cooking ground beef and then you have some frozen veggies, I think that's a super, super simple way to go. We're just being fancy to be fancy today, and because we had a couple leftover ingredients in the cupboard that we're not going to get consumed, especially with Thanksgiving coming up here. Got to start cutting down on the food in our pantry, right? So we're going to open up this frozen bag of spinach, and we're going to throw this baby in there. A better knife. Oh, it's like cube spinach. I don't know why I bought this spinach in the first place, to be honest with you guys. I must have had it for a recipe or something. I actually wonder if it was a DoorDash. Sometimes when DoorDash doesn't have the thing that you're trying to order, they will just send you, like, if you don't tell them to get something better, they'll just send you like a different frozen vegetable. And I wonder if that's how I ended up with this spinach, because there's no way I bought frozen spinach. It's kind of crazy of me. I got this frozen spinach in here, and then once this is all cooked up, I will pull this from the pan, and I will show you guys what we are working with here. Looks pretty good so far, though. The dressing is going to be balsamic. I think I already talked about that, but balsamic, honey, and some garlic. And I've been liking that balsamic on the Brussels sprouts. In this stir fry, I think it could be, has a shot at being real good. Real good. I'm going to throw these veggies in a plastic bag, save my frozen spinach for another day, for whatever recipe calls for some frozen spinach. It's like Popeye. You know, isn't that what he ate? Or was it kale? Pretty sure it's spinach. It's like a can of spinach. Can't open up this bag here. I'll throw the spinach in here. So I know I've talked about this on previous Meathead episodes, but I really like cooking up two things at once and then being able to like alternate between lunch and dinner on the two big meals that you cook and kind of making them separate. So like I like doing like a beef meal and a chicken meal, or a chicken meal and a fish meal, or a fish meal and a beef meal, but not having the same meats or like taste over and over again. I think makes it much easier to eat the food that is good for you, right? Like you want to have a good relationship with this food. If there's not a good relationship there, you're not going to stick with the diet. And I think doing the same thing over and over again, for most people, not all people, I like eating the same thing over and over again every now and then, but not all people are like that. And I think the more that you can make these things taste good for yourself, the better. But last week it was really awesome because again, we've been freezing all the stuff in a crock pot, which is what I enjoy about it. Like I take a Tupperware that'll feed me lunch for the week, and then I put the rest, because it makes so much, in the freezer. So I think I had some of the barbecue chicken in there. I had some of the chili that I didn't show in there, and I had some of the girlfriend soup in there, and I think I had one more thing. Like I've been able to just like pull stuff out of the fridge, out of the freezer, and put it there for lunch and dinner. So like I don't even have to meal prep every week now if I'm doing this. The only reason I'm meal prepping every week is for the videos and just like stay on top of it. But then I have like 7 different dinners and lunches that I want to taste and grab from. So it's kind of cool once you get that crock pot going, how much food you can really make, and then freezing it and being able to pull it out whenever you want to pull it out, so you don't, again, you have a big variety of diets that you can have. So that's super cool. I'm going to show you guys this really quick. Look at these veggies here. That's looking pretty good so far. We're going to pull those out and put them in a bowl, and then we are going to cook up the beef with the glaze there, but using the same pan just because it's the only pan that we got. That's pretty good. Still breaking apart the spinach just a little bit. It's a little frozen spinach. All right, now we're going to pull this out, put it in the bowl over here for later, and we'll throw this back in the pan after we get the beef on there. There we go. All right, then we're throwing the pan back on. We're gonna throw a little bit of butter on to cook the beef in. Throwing that baby on there. Just pan the heat back up again. The only reason I used to love cooking on the stove top. I think the Crockpot is a little bit more efficient, not a little bit, way more efficient and makes way more food. But I still like cooking on the stove top every now and then, especially at my old place where we had a nice stove top, like a nice stove. This thing sucks butt cheeks, bro. It is not big enough. It's not like a full-size stove, and it takes forever to kind of warm up and heat. But we are throwing 2 pounds of ground beef here. I don't know if this is technically right, but I like pulling apart my ground beef before I put it on. I'm sure there's some cook out there that's the total wrong way to do it, but I feel like it cooks faster once I pull this apart and piece it there. I feel like I've seen some people just throw the whole slab on or something. I don't really know if that's true, but this is how I do it. You should do it like how I do it, because this is my channel. This is the Meathead Cookbook, and there's nothing wrong that could be said here, because we are in the pursuit of gains. And Gainesville is never wrong. Tastes good. Was high protein. That's a win, right? You can cook it a little bit faster. Even better win. So we're going to throw all that beef in there. We might have a lot of beef for this pan, but having too much beef, when has that ever been a problem? Never. Then we have some ground sirloin. I would have liked to got 2 pounds of ground sirloin, but the DoorDash person, I don't know if they told the truth, but they told me there was only 1 pound there. So now we only got 1 pound of ground sirloin, but I love the taste of ground sirloin. It is delicioso. So we're throwing beef on here. Oh, we should have plenty of room. Right there. Then we're going to brown the beef. And then I believe once we ground the beef, we put the balsamic in there. I'll check it in a little bit once this beef is out of my hand. But we'll season this, brown this. Put the balsamic on there. We got a little bone broth we're going to throw in here as well, just to really make it fancy, mostly because I probably, again, will not use that bone broth before it goes bad, just because I'm cooking so much food today. So, I guess it's kind of a little bit of a negative with this. Once you cook 30 meals at a time, if you have any leftovers, you're not really going to have much use for them. Leftovers in the sense of leftover ingredients from the original thing you were creating. We're going to cook up this ground beef. I'll throw some salt and pepper on here. Right there, a little bit of pepper on here. But I really like throwing chili powder on. I'm going to go light on the chili powder just because I don't think this recipe necessarily calls for it. But whenever it's just plain beef, I think chili powder is one of the best things you can put on it to make it taste good. And then we're going to throw a little garlic powder on it as well. Boom, boom. Seasoned up. Now we're going to brown it. Let's go. Georgia is up 13-3 on Texas right now. All right. Now that the beef is browned up here, I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to throw some garlic in here. It's supposed to be 4 cloves of garlic, but I just got a little bit left in here, so I'm going to throw a little bit of garlic in here. Let this baby cook up, and then I'll show you the round beef. What we got going there? I don't really want to dump in that juice, though. Hope that's enough garlic. Should be. Mix that garlic in there. I gotta turn off that fan. I bet that's messing up the audio for you guys for sure. I just realized I kind of mumble. It's kind of weird, talking to myself in my kitchen. For some reason in the gym I can do it, talk normal, but I mumble on this one when I'm cooking. A little bit weird. Maybe I'm nervous. Just a little nervous. All right, look at that. So we got the garlic in there. That is brown. We got veggies in there. The spoon is in there because I was taking bites of the veggie. Don't worry about it. I had to taste test. You always have to taste test. If you're not taste testing, you're not trying. Then we're coming over here. When the garlic is in there, I have to look at the next step. I do not memorize these things. They want us to throw a little bit more salt and pepper on top. There. A little more pepper here. I like to season the beef before and after whenever I cook it, so a little bit more garlic on top there. We gotta mix this seasoning up, and then we're gonna throw our bone broth in there. We have to throw a half cup of bone broth in here. It's perfect because then we should be pretty close to using this whole thing. Put this baby about a half. Throw that in there. I'm gonna throw a little bit more. This is actually my first time throwing bone broth in a pan like this, so I'm pretty excited. I feel like that's gonna make it taste unbelievable. Unbelievable. My aunt makes her own bone broth. At least she used to. And whenever I would try some of that, it was so yummy. They were also drinking it in the morning. I actually kind of like that, not going to lie. I know that's probably like a biohacker thing, but like drinking in the morning was actually kind of a good little taste. I liked it. Should probably get back on that journey. Maybe we'll make a video on some of the weird biohacking stuff we want to do. We'll do like morning bone broth cups there, but I did like the taste. Warmed up just a little bit right there. Alright, so we got to sit that stuff in there. We got to simmer this for 2 to 4 minutes until most of the liquid reduces. So we got to turn it up just a little bit. Get this baby going. Yeah, I'm going to take a bite of this. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Tell you right now, this looks really, really good. Really, really juicy. Give me a little bite. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's actually... Okay. Bone broth might go in my beef from every moment here on forward. Because that is ridiculous. The thing that is frustrating with me with this pan, half of this is simmering and the other half isn't warm enough to simmer yet because my pan doesn't fit on my stove. It's a little frustrating, but we're going to let this simmer for a little bit and get this to hopefully heat up just a little bit. I feel like this burner is a little bit hotter. Yeah, okay. So for some reason, one burner is significantly hotter than the other one, but we will make it work. And we're gonna let that simmer for 2 to 4 minutes. Then we have to add the balsamic vinaigrette, 3 to 4 tablespoons of that, 1 to 2 teaspoons of honey, and then we add the veggies back in, and it should be good. Let's go. All right, now we have to add in the balsamic vinaigrette. We have to add 4 tablespoons of this in here. That is 1. That is 2. That is 3. That is 4. And we'll do a 5th just for an extra flavor shot. And I used a little bit extra beef, so add a little 5th in there as well. Then we have to pour some honey on top. 1 to 2 teaspoons, but I'm just going to put an ample amount of honey in here. It's not going to make it taste bad, that's for sure. Honey on beef, there's nothing more gainful than that. And then they want a little salt again on that top. And then we have to add the spinach and the corn and the onions back in here. This is going to be a full pan, and we will let them simmer, but we're throwing this baby back in here so that it can soak in the juices of that balsamic. This is the fancy way of doing this right here. Just letting the veggies soak in some juices. Our veggie to beef ratio is this is the most meatheadish veggie to meat ratio of all time. I definitely should have taken out some of this meat and used it for something else. I think I was supposed to use 1 to 1.5 pounds of meat, and I think I used 2 to 2.5 pounds of meat, but we will. I mean, having enough beef is never a bad thing in life. So throwing this baby here. And then we will throw all of this. I'm just trying to mix up this balsamic here. But we will throw all of this in a bowl, and then we will have some little beef stir fry. We'll cook up some rice, throw some rice underneath it, and then maybe put some sauces on top of it. But this is looking pretty good. Let me show you this. Our little meathead stir fry. Then we'll do a little taste test. See if it was worth the time. Look at that. All right. Ooh, yummy, 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 yummy. Again, our beef to veggie ratio, little off, but I bet it's still going to taste amazing. Let's get a little bite here. Get some corn, get a Brussels sprout. Make sure we have all flavors, you know what I mean? Okay, moment of truth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna leave you guys here and go eat a bowl of that. Do yourselves a favor and make that. Wow, that's fire. Keep chopping wood.